the single biggest problem, is figuring out what you want, what you're good at, what your risk tolerance is. And that's going to be a very unique answer for you. And I always cringe whenever there's any kind of financial content on TV or online or on YouTube where it says, you should do this. And I'm like, who are you talking to? Are you talking to a 17-year-old day trader? Are you talking to a 95-year-old widow? Are we going to pretend like those are the same people with the same goals? And a big part of this is I feel like a lot of financial debates when people are saying, you should do X. No, you should do Y. They're not actually disagreeing with each other. It's people with different goals and different time horizons talking over each other. And so much of the psychology of money is us looking in the mirror and being introspective into saying, who am I? What do I want? And what's the best path for me? And one of the most dangerous things that you can do is take your cues and get your advice from people who are playing a different game than you are. You have people who are chasing other people's dreams. And when it doesn't work, or if they get there, they realize they're not happy. It's like, yeah, because that wasn't your game. That's not what you actually wanted to begin with. Really what every business is solving somebody's problem, figuring out a problem for someone else. That's a very, very basic way to describe a business. But you would be surprised how many businesses ignore that fundamental concept. And when they're making a product, when they're making a marketing plan, whatever, they're forgetting that part of it. What is a problem that somebody else has? And what can we do to fix that? One that really sticks out to me here that I wrote about a lot in The Psychology of Money is the math behind compounding is not intuitive at all to most people. So all wealth comes from compounding, compound interest. That's very basic. But the math behind it always screws people up. I'd frame it this way. If I asked you, what is 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8? You could figure that out in 5 seconds. But if I said, what is 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 times 8? Your head explodes. You can't figure it out. Like, we're just not meant for compounding. Or a simple statistic like this. 99% of Warren Buffett's net worth, he's worth $100 billion. 99% of that came after his 60th birthday.
It's bananas. Was
accumulated after his 60th birthday. That number doesn't compute, doesn't make sense in people's heads, because that's how compounding works. If he retired at age 60 when he was worth $1 billion, you would have never heard of him. The only reason he's successful and has gained so much wealth over time is because of how long he's been doing it for. It's because it's not just because he's a good investor. It's because he's been a good investor for 70 years. And that's where all the money comes from. So that too is so easy to overlook. Like, people look at Warren Buffett and they say, how did he do it? How did he pick stocks? What is he looking for? How does he think about valuation and management teams, those kind of things? And that's all important. But the secret is that he's been a good investor for 80 years. That's all of it. And most people don't have that kind of patience, whether they're an entrepreneur or just an individual investor. It's like, how can I make money fast? And if you try something new and it's not working out, you give it a month or maybe 6 months before you're like, this isn't working, I gotta move on to something else. When all of the big fortunes over time, whether it's from an entrepreneur or an investor, have come from people who are doing roughly the same thing for an inordinate amount of time. And for most people in investing, if you're investing in the stock market, it's one way to get wealthy over time. The secret is that average returns sustained for an above average period of time will lead to magic. That's all you need to do. Everyone in the stock market is like, how can I earn the highest returns? What are the stocks I can own this year that are going to double? How can I get money fast? And most of the time, that's not the strategy that you want. That's not what's going to earn you the most money over time. What's going to earn you the most money is, how can I earn, what are the best returns that I can sustain for the longest period of time? And if you can just be average for 20 or 30 years, you're going to end up in the top 2% of investors over time.